Hello, and this is a very quick overview of how do you answer ray diagrams, those mirror type questions. So what you see over here is a typical answer of how you draw the ray diagrams for this kind of question. It doesn't quite make sense if I don't give you the question, isn't it? So let me show you what the question might look like and how do you get to this part, okay? So it starts off with you having a mirror where this side is reflective and this side is the back of the mirror. And we're going to say, all right, there is an object over here that's in front of the mirror. So let's just draw something like this. Okay, this is my object. And I'm going to be looking at the object through the mirror above it. So this is my eye. And the question is, I know that when I look at the ball through the mirror, I know that the light rays from the ball is going to go to the mirror, it reflect into my eyes, correct? So how do I draw that? How do I represent that using ray diagrams? What's the correct way of drawing it? What are the steps? So today, let's go through these main things. Every time you see a question that involves a mirror, and I know that there's an object here, the first thing you do is that you always draw the image. Now, what you would already know is that if this is the object, this is the mirror, my image is somewhere here. Now, to draw the image correctly, you will want to remember what we've learned in the chapter concerning the properties of a mirror image. So let's look at the properties of a plane mirror image. Plane meaning is flat, it's not concave or convex. We have a very easy remembering it, which is the LOVEU, correct? A quick run through, laterally inverted, the object distance is equal to image distance, is virtual, is equal distance from the object to the mirror and to the mirror to the image, and U is upright. So with these few things, and that's what we've done in class, you'll be able to figure out what my image should look like. So my image over here, it can't be somewhere here because the distance between the object to the mirror must be equal to the mirror to the image, right? Now it can't be so big either because I know it's equal size, right? So now how do I draw it? Now typically you will put your ruler, and let me try to draw a ruler. Okay, now we have a ruler, right? So I'm going to put the ruler somewhere here. And can you see the line that I have over here? This part over here, this line? If I can align it with this mirror over here, I would know that this ruler and my mirror over here is making 90 degrees, it's perpendicular, right? And then what do? I will measure from here to here, right? Whatever that is, in this case is 2 units. So it's 2 units from the object to the mirror. So that means it's going to be also 2 units from the mirror to the image, correct? So now let me put my ruler away. Not sure if I can put my ruler away. Put my ruler away. I need to show that this distance is equal to this distance. Now this itself is not a ray. A ray is one where you have your areas here. So I'm going to be very clear that I'm saying that these 2 distances are the same because I'm trying to say that I've understood the property of my image, that it will be equal distance away from the mirror. So now I will draw my image. I've drawn it with dotted lines because it's virtual, it's not really there. Alright, now what do I do next? Next thing I do is that I'll draw a ray that seems to come from the image into my eye, because our brain imagines that when we look into the mirror, right, the light source comes from the image, but actually comes from the object. So let's draw from the image, which is what my brain perceives. And light always travels in a straight line, correct? So how do you do this? I'm going to pick this point up here, okay, where that my eye sees the top of this ball over here. So using a ruler, I will need to use a ruler and draw from that point to my eye. So it may look something like this, right? Now, the ray doesn't go out of my eye. It's not Superman who will shoot lasers out. It goes into our eye. So the direction must be into the eye. Now, remember this is a mirror. Light rays can't actually go behind the mirror. So that part is virtual. So what we're going to do is that we're going to erase away these parts to make it a dotted line. I think it's very clear. Let's try again. Let's make a dotted line here. Alright, now we are almost there. We're not quite done, because we already said that, hey, the light rays don't actually originate from the image, it originates from the object, which is what's actually happening, right? The light rays all go in all different directions. Now there's one ray of light that goes here and reflects at this part. So how do I draw it? I'm just going to take the same point, see up here? It's actually here, isn't it? So from this point, I'm going to connect from here to here. It looks something like this. There we go. Right? And the light ray, it's showing there's a light ray, I need to have an arrowhead. Light always travels in a straight line in a certain direction, so I'm going to show a straight line and a direction. Alright, how do I know that I actually did it well? So let's look at what we have over here. This over here is my normal. Normal means it is 90 degrees to this boundary, 90 degrees to the mirror. Where the light ray hits, I'm going to draw the normal, because that's how I measure the angle of incidence and angle of reflection. So let's go back here. How do I do that? Let's once again bring my ruler here. I'll bring my ruler. Come on, ruler. Okay, I got it. I'm going to put my ruler over here like this. Right here. I can align it with this line over here. Can you see that? I'm just going to draw my straight line across to draw my normal. Okay, so how do I know I did it well? I would see that this angle here, my angle of incidence, will be equal to my angle of reflection, which is what actually happens when light reflects in the mirror. So what are the steps I would say? If I were to recap, just realize I didn't do that. Always draw the image. After you draw the image, I would draw a ray from image to eye. And that was what I did over here. I must remember straight line from here to the eye, and whatever's behind the mirror must be dotted because it's not really there. That's virtual. Then what is the next step? The next step would then be from that same similar point, that reflected point over here, right? I'm now going to connect from the object to the mirror, exactly the point where my first ray meets. Okay, so these are incomplete instructions. It's done in context of what you see over here. Okay, so very typically, when you see it, first you draw the image, then you draw a ray from image to eye. Then after that, it's not really here, right? It actually comes from here, isn't it? So draw from object to the mirror. You don't need to draw this part over here, but it's a very good way to check that my angles are equal, because that's the real science behind it. Alright? So how does this change? What can I do to make this a more challenging question? Well, typically what people will do is to make it slanted. Okay, let me move this aside first. If the question is slanted, are you still able to do it? So that means, right, the question could look like, they give you the eye, they give you the object. You need to figure out how to draw it. Okay, usually the point where people make mistakes is that they can't really figure out what's the position of my object, of my image. Some of them think, oh, the object is here, my image should be here. Oh no, that's not how it works. If the mirror was still straight this way, vertical, yeah, my image would be here, but now that is like that. This one, I need to, once again with my ruler, right, I need to put it here and then measure it, correct? And I'll see that the position of my image will be here, right? So always use your ruler and make sure you can double check using your ruler. You cannot do without your ruler for this chapter, okay? All right, so that's 10 minutes of the basics of these, but this should be sufficient to help you through exams. All right, bye.